Hey everyone, Gary Serra here with Serra & Associates. Hope you guys had a great summer. So what's happening in the market these days? Everybody's thinking, is it a good time to buy? Has the market hit bottom? Why don't we take a look? So what's been happening with the market this summer? Well, we have actually seen an uptick in sales for the summer, which is quite unusual. Usually July, August is kind of a dead lull in the market. People are traveling and they're just not focusing on real estate with the weather and so on. But we actually had an uptick in sales both in July and August. So let's take a look. In August, residential home sales were 2,231 homes sold, as opposed to July, which is 2,557 homes sold. So July was a stronger month than August, which is kind of typical, but both fairly strong months. If we look at total homes currently listed, we had 13,396 homes sold listed in August, and in July we had 14,240. And then in comparing to August of last year, again, no surprise that we were just shy of 12,000 homes, as there's more inventory now than there was last year. So definitely we're starting to see that trend of more homes coming on the market. Definitely a lot of the buyers that we're working with are, they ask like, will more houses be coming on the market? And definitely the later summer into September, we start to see that happen. So if we look at homes listed and how that compares, so we are a 5.9% decrease from July of this year and a 13.3% increase from August of last year because of the changing market, of course. And then if we look at where we're sitting in terms of market conditions, whether we're in a seller's market, a buyer's market, or a balanced market, looking at the definitions of what those are and just kind of refreshing you guys on what that looks like. A seller's market is anything that's 20% or over in terms of active to sold ratio. In other words, that's the percentage of sold homes compared to active listings. But a buyer's market is anything from 12% or under, and a balanced market is anything between 12% and 20%. So let's take a look at the numbers based on these facts and see where we're sitting for August. For condos, we are actually at 21.2%, which actually is a seller's market. Believe it or not, people may think, the market is, really bad and stuff, but we're actually technically in a seller's market in condos. In townhomes, we're at 18.4%, which is a very high balanced market, verging on sellers. Detached homes are at 12%, so they're just on essentially the cusp of buyer's market. So we've definitely seen more activity in the detached market again. I think with people seeing that there were such great values in buying detached homes. And then the combined ratio is at 16.7%, which again is pretty much like on the higher end of the balanced market. So, it's actually looking like the market has actually been faring much better in the last, let's say, 2 to 3 months. If we look at July and compare the two, so condos were at 22%. If we compare that to August, 21.2, so pretty much almost the same, a slight decrease. In July, townhomes were at 20%. And then in August, 18.4. So again, a slight decrease. If we look at July detached, 13.5 and 12% for August. And then the combined ratio, 18% for July and 16.7 in August. Now, you kind of sort of see a pattern. Everything sort of slightly trended down in August. It's really not a surprise because August historically, and if you look at the calendar year, is probably, other than the latter part of December, is always the slowest month because everybody's traveling. But comparatively, we actually had at Gary Serra & Associates, we actually had a very busy August. So I think that more and more people were actually considering buying because of the market conditions. If we look at benchmark price, so the benchmark price for Metro Vancouver has now dipped a little further at 993,300. If we look at last month, it was at 996. So, we're seeing a very slight decrease. So 8.3% decrease from August of last year. That's not a surprise because the market was so different last year and so frenetically busy and a hugely strong seller's market. And a 0.2% decrease from July of this year. So again, a very nominal decrease in Metro Vancouver benchmark prices. One thing I do want to talk about, and maybe pause here for a second, is that we definitely have been seeing a trend month over month of sales activity increasing over the months of like June, July, August. But yet we've seen the prices have very slightly trended down. But one of the things that I want to talk to you guys about is that it's sort of the economics of the scale of real estate. It's like an old school scale, where if the activity keeps increasing of sales and the prices are here, eventually there's a tipping point where that's what we call hitting the bottom of the market and the market's starting to turn again. And my feeling is that we're probably getting really close to that because we keep having more sales activity, and yet the prices have very slowly and modestly inched downward. But there's going to be a tipping point where that changes. So a lot of people say, is this a good time to buy? Well, the numbers are showing me that it's probably a really good time because we might be seeing a slight change in the market. Not to say that it's going to go crazy, but it might be hitting that bottom curve where we start to go up again. So just something to think about. Looking at August market highlights from the from the Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver, rather. Detached was 1.406. 55 days on the market was the average days on market. Townhomes were 771,900. 44 days on the market, and apartments were 654,000 and 42 days on the market. If we compare that to July, 1.417 and 48 days on the market. So we saw, if we just flip back, a slight decrease in benchmark price, and also days on market increased again. So we're seeing a little bit of a slight decline. If we look at 770 for July, for townhouses in 41 days, and go back to August, 771,900, almost the same, literally $2,000 difference, and 44 days on the market compared to July, 41 days. So again, a little bit longer period of time. And then finally, if we look at apartments for July, 653,200, 37 days on the market, and if we compare to August, 654 and 42 days. So again, you're starting to see that sort of very modest trend down. But again, the biggest thing to look at here from our side, at least from my side, is sales activity. If we start to see more and more sales activity increasing and month over month increasing, there's going to be a tipping point. So, what does this all mean? As a recap, the benchmark price remains below $1 million for the third month in a row. So this is kind of like the new normal. I mean, and benchmark prices all across the board, looking at all property types. So just keep that in mind, because it might sound a little misleading, but it is the new benchmark price that it's below $1 million. Pricing trend is trending downward month over month, like I talked about. So we have seen very slight, modest pricing downward trending. But having said that, home sales have increased since earlier this year, month over month. So again, there's sort of that tipping point on the scale that I feel like at some point, if this trend continues, and we'll have to wait and see, then we might see a bit of a turn in the market. One of the things to also keep in mind that we tell our clients is that historically and timeline-wise, September after Labor Day, we always see a marked increase in activity. People are back from holidays, the kids are back in school. Usually that's when people get back on the bandwagon of wanting to make a move. And for sure for us, I've had more inquiries in the last week and a half about either wanting to list or buyers thinking of buying than we have in the last 4 months. So definitely my business is telling me that people are definitely kind of getting back into the swing of either selling or buying. So that could affect, again, that pendulum that I was talking about. And it's a great conditions for move-up buyers. I mean, obviously if you're getting into the market the first time, it's a way better time than it ever was because of the conditions being more favorable for buyers and also being able to do the due diligence. But if you're a move-up buyer, I mean, there's amazing opportunities for going from a lower price property to a higher price property. Want to talk about some of what we've got, some of our recent successes and some of our listings that are coming on. We've got quite a few coming up, but I want to talk about the more immediate ones. We have a recent sale at 930 Cambie. This is a building we've sold another unit in, and this one was very well received. We only sold it in a week. It was a junior 2-bedroom. We were listed at $685. We actually had multiple offers on it, and it sold for $670,000, which was a really good number for that building and set a new precedent. So my client was really happy with that. We also sold another listing, a really cool sort of live work studio open concept loft space in Hastings Sunrise at L'Atelier, which is 255 East Hastings. This unit was $469, was the list price. We ended up selling it in 33 days for $455,000. My seller got all the conditions she wanted, and it was a great success for her. The last one's a really interesting one because this is a listing that you guys probably heard me talk about in the last few months. This was at Pomeria, which is 1455 Howe. Beautiful building, full service luxury building with concierge and what have you in the Beach Crescent neighborhood. We started off high at 1.785. My seller knew that was ambitious. We talked about it and thought, let's try it. But as time went on, she's a great seller and was very realistic. And so we dropped the price, and finally we decided to drop it to 1.475. And we ended up getting an offer, and it was a lower offer, and we were negotiating on it. But because of the price being so, like a much lower price point and more attractive, we ended up getting a second offer from another party that showed, and the next thing you know, we were in competing offers, and it ended up selling for 1.5, so $25,000 over asking, and it took 50 days. So a very interesting lesson there about pricing strategy, and even in a market like this, pricing strategy is so key. And my client got all the things she wanted. She wanted the dates she wanted, and obviously an awesome price, so she's ecstatic. And so a couple of new listings I want to talk to you about. We have three of them I want to talk about. One is a really nice townhouse that we have in Richmond in the Steveston neighborhood. It's 12880 Railway, right in the heart of Steveston. It's a really nice 3-bedroom, 2-level townhouse. We're priced at new price. We were at $798. We just dropped it to $774.9 today. It's fresh paint and carpets, ready for your ideas on renos and kitchen and bathroom, but it's a really nice unit with 2 parking. And that's been on the market 31 days. And then we have a listing that we just came on the market in the Main Street area, Main and 18th, fantastic, super trendy neighborhood in a building called the Newport. It's a fully rain screen building. This is a junior 2-bedroom, 2-bath. We are priced at $699. This is really price sharp. We've already had 3 showings since it's been on the market in 3 days. We've had a request for documents for about 3 different agents. So we have open houses this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. We don't think this one's gonna last very long at this price. So if you're kind of looking for something like that, it's a really awesome price for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath on the Main Street corridor. Or if you know somebody who is, please share this video to them or DM me, and we'd be happy to give you more information. The last one I want to talk to you about, there's 2 that are coming soon. So they're not on the sheet, but I want to talk to you about. One of them is a really nice unit that we are going on market next week. It's in the West End on Nicola. It's a really cute sort of small complex building. This is a top floor penthouse, and it's the only unit on that floor. It has an amazing outdoor deck, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, listed at $975, and it's a really nice unit. It's all brand new inside, and the building was all redone about 5 years ago, so it's like a new building. And then the other one is a beautiful townhouse in Kits, sort of near Kits Point. It's in an old character home. It's a 4-unit complex. It's a huge 1,460 square foot, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, beautiful unit. It's coming on the market just under 1.7, and it's a gorgeous unit. So keep that in your mind. If you know anybody that's kind of in any of those price points or looking, let us know. In the meantime, if you have any questions about the market, I'm always here. You can message me, text me, call me, whatever you like, send smoke signals, and we'd be happy to help. Have a great month.